Good evening and welcome to your Thursday, August 15, 2024 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Government salary increase proposal will give teachers $12 billion in 3 years, says VP JAGDEO. CARICOM countries will get first preference to buy Guyana's excess gas, says Minister BHARRAT. Government working to improve access to land recovery rates for small miners. GWI MULLS reduction in August bill amid disruption to service in Georgetown. And PPP pushing for 5,000 youth leaders at next Congress. Now for the news in detail. Justifying government's offer to teachers, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has noted that the recent salary increase proposal, which was rejected by the Guyana Teachers Union, would have racked up about $12 billion over the 3-year period. Vanu Manikchand reports.
As negotiations continue under the new 2024 to 2026 multi-year agreement, the Education Ministry last week proposed a 10% for 2024, 8% for 2025, and 9% for 2026 in salary increases for teachers. While this offer was rejected by the Guyana Teachers Union, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has pointed out that this proposal would have seen teachers benefiting from as much as $12 billion over the 3-year period.
We spend nearly $40 billion on wages and salaries for teachers per year. This here works out to it's about $4 billion, the 10%, and over the 3 years, when you look at it cumulatively, that will be about maybe just over 12% because you have to look at it cumulatively. And it would be about $12 billion. The offer for the 3-year package is to increase wages and salaries alone for the teachers for about $12 billion in the next 2 years. That is how much more teachers will get, or 60 something million US dollars more they will get over the next 3 years, leaving out the other adjustments that we are making.
After a meeting last Thursday, the Education Ministry proposed a 9% across the board increase to teachers for 2024, but later that day revised it to 10% after the GTU rejected the offer. It was reported that over the weekend, the union's General Council met with its membership to discuss the latest proposal. However, whilst some members wanted to take the 10% increase being offered, the majority were against it. Ultimately, the GTU decided to reject the offer, which was the third proposal from the government since negotiations on the new multi-year agreement started last month. According to the Vice President, government wants to work collaboratively with the GTU, but some union officials want to thwart that.
I think that many of the sober heads, the sensible heads in the union see a great attempt to address the concerns of teachers. We couldn't go back in the past, but we're making a dedicated effort to do this. And they agreed to the package. Coretta McDonald wants to derail this for political reasons once again. The General Council of the union made a decision, and she comes along they take instructions from Congress Place. She's a politician from APNU's camp. They don't want the issue resolved with teachers, so she goes she sabotages the General Council, and then she gets the headline as though she is speaking on behalf of the union, but misleading the newspapers.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Once gas production exceeds local demand, CARICOM member states will be given first preference to purchase the excess commodity. This is according to Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat, who said a number of those countries have already approached the Guyana government. Michael Henry tells us more.
Responding to questions during a press conference on Wednesday, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram BHARRAT explained that Guyana's energy demand is rapidly increasing and therefore the government will have to develop a second major gas project to keep up with this future growth. However, he noted that whenever the country has excess gas, CARICOM member states will be given first preference to buy this commodity. In fact, Minister BHARRAT said a number of countries have already approached Guyana in this regard.
I don't think it will be from the initial project, that is the gas energy project, because the gas energy project, the pipeline can probably carry a maximum of 120, 130 million cubic feet per day. We know that the 300 megawatts would use the 50 that is coming in for us. You might have a little remaining. But already, the President mentioned that we are looking at a second power plant because the rate at which we're developing as a country, the demand for energy is increasing significantly. Significantly. We probably didn't envisage the rate at which the country is developing. But when you have 10, 12 new hotels coming on stream, you have 30-something thousand house slots awarded by the government, and those people build. We have many oil companies are building their headquarters here. When the 6 brand new hospitals come on stream, you will definitely need more power in the system. And then I am saying to you, and we are saying to you, that we want the Wales development area to be an industrial manufacturing park. And we want an alumina plant in Guyana at some point in time. That is demand, the demand for energy obviously will increase. Once we develop that and we have excess gas, obviously, our CARICOM partners will be the persons who we will turn to and speak to, because we have developed a good regional relationship through the chairmanship of our president at CARICOM. I think CARICOM has been re-energized and revitalized, and they're looking to Guyana now for support, especially with regards to the oil and gas sector. So I don't see us looking past our CARICOM sister countries before we go to other countries.
Works are currently progressing on the gas-to-energy project, which will utilize gas from the Liza Phase 1 and 2 projects in the Starbrook Block, offshore Guyana. This project includes the construction of an integrated natural gas liquid plant and a 300 megawatt combined cycle power plant at Wales, West Bank Demerara. The project has an expected startup timeline of early 2025, and according to Minister BHARRAT, the project remains on schedule.
On the construction of the power plant, we are, while we are concerned, we are satisfied with the progress being made to ensure that we have that project running or up and running early next year. That is still our timeline.
Meanwhile, works are actively ongoing into a second major gas project expected to be launched in the Berbice region. A technical team has already been assembled to examine its viability, and U.S. energy firm Fulcrum LNG, along with ExxonMobil, have been engaging on a weekly basis to create a plan to develop remaining gas. The Guyana government has openly stated that one of its primary objectives in the oil and gas sector is the development of the country's natural gas resources, with a gas monetization strategy already developed. Michelle Henry, The Evening News.
In order to address the issue of low gold production and declaration in the country, the government has been working assiduously to support small miners by improving their access to land and recovery rates. Find out more in this Trishul Sobers report.
From 2016 to present, gold production and declaration has seen a steady decline. For 2022, the declaration was 486,415 ounces. For 2021, it was 499,054 ounces. 2020 recorded 584,291 ounces, and 2019 some 634,905 ounces. During a press conference on Wednesday, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram BHARRAT has attributed these low figures to a variety of factors. For instance, he said for the years 2021 to 2022, there was a significant flooding in mining districts, severely impacting operations. Then in 2023, there was the prolonged drought. This year, he said mining districts are once again being affected by flooding, and in 2020, there was the issue of the COVID-19 pandemic. Another contributor, he said, is the fact that for decades, small and medium-scale miners have been mining in the same properties over and over. As such, he said the government has been working with these miners to employ new methods of technology in their operations in order to increase recovery rate, which will boost gold production and, of course, their profitability. The current recovery rate, he noted, is around 35 to 40%.
We are working with a few of the medium-scale operators to look at ways in which they can move away from alluvial and even go into hard rock and produce more. For the one large-scale company that is producing, we have no issue because there is no use of mercury in their operation, and their recovery rate is in the 90s, maybe close to 95% recovery. And it just shows that if different methods and technology are used, the recovery rate can increase from 35–40% to 60–70%, which will make the sector more viable and also shows an increase, a massive increase in our production.
Another way the government is hoping to improve production and declaration is by helping small miners get better access to land.
Every single person that comes to the Ministry or GGMC for land, they want land with gold. Right? That's the common thing. Unfortunately, we are not in the position to tell you how much ounces of gold are there when we give you that land, that property. It calls for prospecting. Again, we find that, especially at the small and medium scale level, not much prospecting or not much investment is put into prospecting to ensure that you have mineralized properties before you invest heavily into mining. Over the last 4 years, we have held 3 lotteries. To date, over 550 small miners have benefited from their own mineral property. Over 550 small miners would have benefited. This year alone, in Bartica, 150, in Madhya, 200. That is 350 in 2024 alone. Small Guyanese miners who now own their own plot of land, or sorry, not own, but they have their permit to work on their own plot of land. Because we know in the past, small miners complain of being taken advantage of by the bigger miners. That is their place to work on land owned by medium-scale operators. And once they find gold, they're put off the land. I can say safely, over 700 small miners have land tenures over the last 3 to 4 years. The 550 that I mentioned is only through the lotteries. But of course, there is still the normal procedure through the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission.
Meanwhile, other issues affecting the sector is the shortage of workers and apparent migration of medium-scale farmers to other sectors such as oil and gas and construction. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The ruling People's Progressive Party is working on building its future cohort of leaders by targeting youths from across the country. According to the party's General Secretary, Dr. BHARRAT JAGDEO, only recently the party boosted its youth arm with 600 new members from Region 9, and this figure is expected to grow when a similar exercise is held in Region 1 in the coming days. JAGDEO explained that the aim to have at least 5,000 young members at the PPP's next Delegates Congress in 2 years' time. Here is more of what the PPP General Secretary had to say about the party's future leaders.
I came from Region 9 last week, and we had a youth camp there, and over 600 young people joined the youth arm of the party. I will be going tomorrow into Region 1 in the Morukat sub-district, where we will have another youth camp, and where they too will join the PYO. And in Region 2, we've done this right across. In every region, this is going to happen. As we promised, the last Congress when I spoke, I said By the time we have the next Congress, we'll have a 5,000 strong youth movement, all in line with preparing the next generation of PPP leaders who will emerge in the next maybe 10 years or so as the leadership of this party and country. And we are working to prepare them for that. And they're kids from every community and from every race. The fact of the matter is that our party is the only multiracial party, as everyone now has accepted, even our opponents, the only multiracial party in this country, and the largest Amerindian party too, because we have a massive amount of members who are Amerindians. The last Congress, 1/3 of our delegates were Amerindians who came to the party's Congress. We have in our leadership a number of Amerindians.
Coming up, local companies earned US $314 million by mid-2024 from oil and gas sector, and government to sign new PSA with 6 awardees soon for oil blocks offshore. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Guys, I think I'm in love! Wow!
Yeah, I was looking at you too.
What? What are you talking about? I'm in the tiles. Where did you get them?
Oh, Mima Decor, obviously the best tile store in Guyana. Come, let me take you there.
My kitchen, my bathroom, my floors. Mima Decor has everything. And the prices are great too.
So, girl, want to have a date now?
We can build on that.
Over 205,000 school-aged children benefit from a $45,000 Because We Care cash grant and uniform voucher. This initiative helps parents ensure their children have the tools needed for education. Oil and gas revenue makes up 29% of the 2024 budget.
Miners, welders, and contractors. Have broken parts caused you tremendous downtime? Do you need an extra heavy-duty, dependable welding machine that will get the toughest jobs done and can also double as a generator to power all of your tools? Well, your #1 industrial solutions provider Sylvies has you covered. We currently have in stock the Hobart Champion Elite Arc Welder and Generator. This capable electric start generator produces up to 11,000 watts of AC power to run tools, work lights, or backup power during an outage. It can simultaneously deliver 150 amps weld output and 8,000 watts of generator power and can run up to 14 hours on one 12-gallon tank of gas. This portable generator handles mild steel, stainless steel, and cast iron with a maximum thickness of ½ inch in a single pass. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The Guyana Water Incorporated has committed to restoring clean water to citizens in central Georgetown amid recent disruptions experienced due to the high levels of turbidity and sediment at its shelter belt canals. In fact, the utility company's chief executive officer, Sheikh Bashk, said GWI is considering reducing customers' August bill amid this disruption to service. Trishelle Sobers has this story.
The Guyana Water Incorporated GWI has explained that the recent disruptions to water supply in Georgetown is due to the dredging of the East Demerara Water Conservancy, which caused a buildup of sludge that contaminated its shelter belt, resulting in the distribution of rusty and unhealthy water. During a press conference on Thursday, the utility company's Chief Executive Officer Sheikh Bash explained that the issue was first recognized on July 15, but it was not severe at the time. Nevertheless, he said that a technical team was immediately dispatched to the conservancy, where it was observed that the sedimentation load coming from the shelter belt plant was extremely high. Subsequently, GWI hired additional labor to clean the canals, while technicians in the laboratory conducted tests to determine the issue. According to Bash, the system is constantly being flushed out, and by weekend, the quality and availability of water will return to normalcy.
We have taken immediate steps. We have also strengthened our systems inside, flushing and doing all kinds of things. For example, every day we've been out there in the various wards. Mr. Niles, the manager, has sent out people in all his teams to flush the water out of the system as much as possible. And this is ongoing. Already we are seeing some relief. And we have taken samples of the water on a regular basis, and we have seen through the flushing, through the cleaning of the canals and so on, that the water quality, the water color in particular, is improving. It will take a couple more days to bring it to the acceptable normalcy.
The shelter belt is usually cleaned once a year. However, due to the existing situation, GWI has indicated that its team will begin cleaning the system every 6 to 8 months. Bash explained that while the current issue is totally beyond the company's control, there is a need for greater coordination between the East Demerara Water Conservancy and the National Drainage Irrigation Authority, NDIA. On this point, he disclosed that GWI is considering reducing customers' August bill amid the disruption to service.
We are prepared to look at that, to consider that. Some relief to the customers during this period where they were affected. I have Ms. Roylene Finance here. She's a commercial services head, and she will have to look at that, and we will issue a statement on that at some point.
Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
As of mid-2024, local companies have earned some US $314 million from the oil and gas sector, according to Director of the Local Content Secretariat, Dr. Martin Pertab. Let's find out more from Michael Henry.
As mandated under the Local Content Act, contractors and subcontractors must submit half-year reports to the Local Content Secretariat, providing an update on the procurement activities, employment, and capacity building program. Addressing a news conference on Wednesday, head of the Secretariat, Dr. Martin Pertab, revealed that it has received 40 such reports, and it was observed that from the 40 carved-out areas in the Local Content Act, local companies have earned some $314 million so far, which is over 50% of the 2024 project estimate.
When compared to mid-year of 2023, we have seen growth in some areas such as engineering and machine services by 238%. We have seen growth in accommodation services by 39%. We have seen growth in equipment rental by 48.5%, and even catering by 18.8%. This, of course, would have resulted from the increase in petroleum activity due to the arrival of the third FPSO.
Some $700 million was generated from the local content in 2022, while in 2023 it was projected to have been $720 million. Meanwhile, it was also revealed that from January to June this year, there have been over 454 new hires by the 40 companies. Dr. Pertab noted that while the total number of Guyanese employed by these companies now stands at 4,467, it is estimated that over 6,500 locals are working in the oil and gas sector. He also noted that these companies have been investing significantly into building local capacity.
capacity building, we have also seen stride made as it relates to capacity building. So far, within the 6 months, some of the major Tier 1 companies have invested over $3.8 million, with 14 individuals receiving scholarship amounting to somewhere around $525,000 USD.
The National Assembly passed the Local Content Act in December 2021. It outlines 40 different service areas that oil and gas companies and their subcontractors must procure from Guyanese and Guyanese-owned companies. Those include 90% of office space rental and accommodation services, 90% of janitorial services, laundry and catering services, 95% pest control services, 100% local insurance services, 75% local supply of food, and 90% local accounting services. Michelle Henry, The Evening News.
The government of Guyana has concluded negotiations on a new production sharing agreement with the 6 companies that were awarded oil blocks during the 2022-2023 licensing round. In this report, you will hear that the oil contracts are expected to be signed soon, as the companies looking to commence oil exploration in the 8 blocks offshore Guyana. More in this Vanu Manikchand report.
After months of intense negotiations, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharrat has disclosed that the 6 companies that were awarded 8 blocks in the country's inaugural auction held between 2022 and 2023 are set to sign the production sharing agreement with the Guyana government.
That PSA has been finalized, I'm happy to say that, with no changes to the fiscal terms. With no changes to the fiscal terms. And you know the new fiscal terms. It is 10% royalty, it is 10% tax, it is 65% cost recovery as against 75, and it is 50-50 profit sharing. So the 50-50 remain the same, 10% royalty, 10% tax, 65% cost recovery, meaning that we will get more upfront than the Stabroek agreement, where it is 75% and we get more at the back end.
According to the Natural Resources Minister, while the PSA will be the same for all the awardees, the work programs will differ. This, he explained, were among the issues that government had to iron out with the companies that led to the delays.
That is where we had to iron out a few issues, especially with the penalties, because you will know in the new PSA the penalty is very heavy. That if you set a work program for $300 million and you cannot fulfill that, then you pay us 50% of it. It is a steep penalty. So we had to work through a few of those issues. I know it has taken longer than it should have, but there are a number of issues, reasons as to why that would have happened. We had to work with the bidders. Some of them, especially the locals, were looking for international partners. They were looking for investors, they were looking for operators. So we had to work with them. A few were ready, but we can't do a separate PSA for every different company. We had to finalize one PSA that can be used for all the companies. You can't get a PSA to suit every other company that will bid. So a few bidders held up the others.
Nevertheless, Minister Bharrat assured that the bid round is moving towards conclusion.
Every one of those 6 companies have submitted their applications to us. We have given them the PSA. They're currently reviewing that with the intent to sign, and all of them have indicated that they're ready to pay their signing bonus. And you know, for the shallow water, it's $10 million US, and for the deep water, it is $20 million US. So upon signing of those PSA, the payment we expect, and we will ensure that the payment of the signing bonus is made, and of course it will be public, not like the Stabroek agreement.
Among those awarded oil blocks during the bid round was Guyanese female-led company Cispro Inc., which received a shallow block and a deep water block. Other shallow blocks were awarded to Total Energies EP Guyana BV in consortium with Qatar Energy International E&P LLC and Petronas E&P Overseas Ventures SDN BHD Malaysia. Liberty Petroleum Corporation of the U.S. and Ghana-based Cybele Energy, and International Group Investment Inc. of Nigeria, which also got 2 shallow blocks. Another shallow block was awarded to the Stabroek Block Partners, ExxonMobil Guyana Limited, Hess New Ventures Exploration Limited, and CNOOC Petroleum Guyana Limited, while the second deepwater block was awarded to Delcorp Inc. Guyana, which comprises Watad Energy and Communications Limited and Arabian Drilling Company of Saudi Arabia. Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manakchand.
Trishul Sobers joins us now to report that crude oil sales between United Kingdom and Guyana account for 96.1% of trade revenue for the year so far. Here is more.
With 3 floating production, storage, and offloading vessels now in operation offshore Guyana, the sale of crude oil between the United Kingdom and Guyana for the year 2024 represents some 96.1% of total trade between the two nations. According to a report issued by the Department for Business and Trade dated August 2, 2024, crude oil sale between the two nations amounted to EU $429.4 million. Additionally, the report reveals successes in exports and imports for road vehicles and specialized machinery, which saw an increase of 22.5% and 11.1% respectively when compared to the same period last year. In figures, road vehicles accumulated EU $35.1 million, while specialized machinery was EU $16.0 million. During a press conference on Tuesday, Country Director for Trade and Investment at the UK's Department for Business and Trade, Sherwin Norton, explained that the robust growth in trade and investment between the UK and Guyana signals promising prospects for both nation economies.
It's really fixed in about 4 or 5 sectors that really account for the numbers. Again, I can give you offhand which all 5 of them, but I know machinery, vehicles, equipment, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals. Those are some of the key sectors that account for most of that trade. Also, of course, in oil and gas, being a recent sector, that also accounts for a significant portion of the trade between Guyana and the UK.
The Trade and Investment Director added that due to the increasing demand for UK products in Guyana and the growing inflow of goods from Guyana into the UK, bilateral trade relations are expected to continue on an upward trajectory in the coming months. Meanwhile, as it relates to the sectors that performed poorly, he disclosed that the Guyana and UK governments are working closely to ensure the numbers increase in the 3rd and 4th quarters of 2024. These include trade for beverages and tobacco that saw a decline of 49.0% and Woodenkirk that also declined by 45.8%.
So that's why we have our G2G partnership arrangement, our government-to-government partnership arrangement. And that's why we have the trade missions coming to Guyana, so that we can have a spill-off effect into other sectors. So that's why we also focus, for example, at the High Commission as a department, we focus heavily on sectors such as agriculture. We focus on security and defense. We focus on food and drink. So to increase the trade in those areas.
In 2022, trade between the UK and Guyana was 12.5% for services only. However, in 2023, a substantial increase of 312.5% or EU $1.2 billion recorded for goods and services. Analysts attribute this significant surge in trade to the strengthening of economic ties between the two countries. Guyana emerged last year as the UK's 78th largest trading partner, accounting for 0.1% of the total UK trade. Trishul Sobers, Evening News.
And now for a look at the BIRCH reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, August 16, 2024 at 1 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, August 16, 2024 at 13 hours 50 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Did you know that Gassie's Jet A1 fuel is a type of aviation fuel specially formulated for turbine engines? Jet A1 fuel is safer to handle and transport than any other fuel types due to its high flash point and low volatility. It also boasts a high energy content, enhancing aircraft performance and efficiency. So whether traveling for business or pleasure, choose GUYAN'S Jet A1 fuel for a safe, reliable, and efficient flight.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Yes?
Start packing us, yeah?
I ain't start packing yet. Usually I pack a couple hours before and I go. Drive. I got my phone, I got my keys, my charger, my
Procrastinating planning for the future? Well, that's never a good idea. Let Demerara Mutual and Demerara Fire and General help you get started with planning for your future today. I'm with Dem.